Alright, welcome back to another video. I think I've made this video already before, but we're gonna do like a redo of like what would I do if I had to start from scratch in 2025. Here's a couple of things that I would go over, right? So I think the biggest thing is people like overthink when it comes to the gym. Like they're like, oh, I need to do this in 6 months, I need to do this in 12 months. But the thing about like transformations or like whatever your goal might be, it takes time. Like if it was easy, like everybody would do it. So it's a case of like you have to be consistent and show up, like at least try to show up every day for 90 days, like regardless of how you feel or not. Now, that sounds hard, but I think it's important to start small. Like a perfect example is when I first started working out, right? I did 3 times a week and then gradually increased it to four, then five, then six. So I think it's important that like you start with a game plan, because if you don't have a plan, you're just gonna go on endlessly and you're not gonna have a general idea of what you want to do or how you want to do it. So I want you to try for at least a month or two, see how that goes for you, and then from there you can like make a general idea of like, oh, maybe 3 days works better for me, maybe 4 days works better for you. Everybody's different when it comes to this. You just gotta make sure you find something that works for you long term. Now, probably the most important part of this video is like training splits, right? So you have a couple of options. You can follow a generic. I don't want to say generic because like it depends on what your goals are. Some people want to get stronger. Some people want abs. Some people want aesthetic. Some people want to be hybrid. So it generally depends what you want. So let's just assume you're someone who wants to lose fat, lose weight, gain muscle, right? So a simple push pull legs or an upper body would work for you. Every workout that you do should have some type of squat, some type of push, some type of pull, some type of hinge, some type of carry movement, whether that's a barbell, RDL, leg press, lunges, like just the general stuff in a sense. That way, like you have like a good idea of what you're doing, and then that way you can work towards it long term. Because like I get like you want to like follow things you see online, but like it's not really like necessarily catered to you. It's more of a generalized thing in a sense. So I think it's important you figure out what your goals are. Like for me, at the beginning, all I wanted was abs. So it's a case of like I worked towards that, and now I care about getting stronger. So like you have to like make sure you're working towards whatever your goal might potentially be. And like most people, your goal is just to lose weight and build muscle. A simple 3 times a week. You just be consistent. Eventually, you're going to see some type of results. As long as you're doing it like actually properly. If you don't like make an effort to even show up, then none of this matters. Now, in regards to protein, like we're going to talk about your nutrition in this part. So for protein, I keep it simple. Like let's say you eat 3 times a week, 3 times a day, not 3 times a week. I'd eat protein in every meal. So like let's say you're having breakfast, you have eggs. For dinner, for lunch, you can have a grilled chicken sandwich, and for dinner, you can have a steak. Water over soda. Try to keep it 80% whole foods. Make sure you don't have to worry about counting calories. I think the most important thing is that you're just consistent when it comes to like you trying to have protein long term. Because protein is satiating, meaning the more protein you have, the less likely you are to snack on certain things. And also, liquid calories is a real thing, meaning like for example, like I'm the type of person where I used to love Chick-fil-A sauce, but Chick-fil-A sauce is generally fattening, right? So you can either like use less of it, find a more healthier alternative, or just cold turkey. I wouldn't advise going to cold turkey just because like if it's something you actually are generally new to, this is something where you gotta like build up to it, or like you can find a healthier alternative. Like there's an alternative called like Cluck Cluck sauce. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like Chick-fil-A sauce is 140 per serving. Cluck Cluck is 90. So like it's not necessarily half, but I don't use as much as I used to in a sense. Now that's nutrition. Another thing with nutrition as well is like your steps. So like the more you move, the less like the more like leeway you have. I don't that sounds like tongue twister, but stay with me, right? So typically most people are sedentary in their day to day lives, meaning the average person gets anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 steps in a day, right? Now, obviously, like I said in the beginning, if your goal is weight loss, you have to move more and eat less. So meaning you'd either have to increase that to eight to 10,000, which sounds like a lot, but that's only an hour if you just walk from like point A to point B, and then from there you just gradually like increase it. Now, I'm not going to suggest you do anything crazy like 15 to 20, because some people just one, they don't have the time for that, and two, that just seems like a lot. But that's why like it's so important when you're getting into something that goes for anything, like not even the gym. You start small and then you gradually ease yourself into it instead of you just trying to have like this big goal off rip and you're not mentally prepared for it. So that's what I would suggest for this. Now, if I suggest anything like from this video, if you take anything away from this video, sleeping. Sleeping is where typically most people like lose their progress, because like our sleep schedules are terrible. The average person sleeps anywhere between 5 to 6 hours a week when you should be aiming for 7 to 8. Especially if you plan on training hard and you plan on doing this like for a long term thing. If you're not sleeping, if you're not recovering, none of this matters. Everything else could be perfect, but if your sleep is terrible, like you're essentially fighting against yourself. Like instead of working like long term towards something that'd be beneficial, if you're not sleeping, none of this like matters in a sense. So if you take anything from this video, get some rest. Sleep's important. Now, I think for the last thing I'll talk about when it comes to this video is like beginner things I wish I didn't do. So like I briefly mentioned it in the beginning, but like trying to copy like certain influences that you might see, or like certain people, like even the stuff you see me do in this video, I wouldn't don't replicate me. Just just use it as like figure out what your goal is. You do research on that. Like I don't want you guys to just take my word for it. I want you guys to actually like research the stuff, figure out what works for you, what doesn't. Don't ego lift. Stop obsessing over supplements. Although if I were to suggest anything, take some creatine. I have a bunch of videos on creatine. I can make a new one though, if you guys want. Don't skip legs or cardio. You don't wanna just try to jump right into it. You wanna start small in a sense, because the easier it is for you to like do like start from get from point A to point B, the more likely you are to stick with something long term. So you're not behind. You're just getting started. Everybody's journey is different, so you just gotta learn to like. There's a quote that goes, "The person who enjoys the journey will go longer than the person who likes going for the destination." I think I butchered it, but I think you get the general idea of what I'm trying to tell you guys that you should be doing. Now, if you're serious about starting your fitness journey, I got you guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm gonna make more videos on this. Let's build it from the ground up. Looking forward to see you guys progress.